Welcome to the Progress Portland podcast. I'm Kip Silverman.
I'm Kat.
And we have Kristofer Brown joining us from the People's Depot. And we're going to talk about what the People's Depot is, what the intentions are, how they're engaging with community, and apparently what it takes to become a master recycler. So looking forward to it. So thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be able to be able to talk about the People's Depot.
Yeah, so let's start there. What tell us about People's Depot, what you do, how you got started, and again, what kind of intentions you have doing this work.
Yeah, so the People's Depot is a program of Ground Score Association. It's one of many programs of Ground Score Association. We are a bottle redemption service located underneath the Morrison Bridge in the Central East Side. We operate 5 days a week from 9:30 a.m. till noon. And pretty much just people can come by if they have bottles and cans to redeem. We come by, we do a hand count, we sort, and you get paid. And most people are in and out within 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how busy we are that day. The People's Depot has been underneath the Morrison Bridge for the last 4 years now. I've been managing for close to 2.5 years. I actually started at the depot as a homeless worker. Prior to working at the depot, I was homeless here in Portland for about 5 years. And in order for me to get by here in Portland, I was a bottle and can collector, and it was the way I could support myself while feeling good about myself still, because when you're poor, you have to make a lot of morality checks, and like how do I maintain this and still feel good about who I am, So that's why I leaned into to bottle and can collecting. But yeah, so what the People's Depot is made of people just like me, people who have experience being bottle and can collectors, that informal experience of recycling. We like to prioritize hiring bottle and can collectors because they know the experience of what other people have had to go through in order to collect those bottles and cans. And a lot of us, we're used to working for long hours for very little pay, So like when I first got this job, like I got hired for 1 day a week and it was cash, and I was making about $50 to $60 a shift. And that was with 3 hours of work, And as a bottle and can collector, it would take me about 12 to 14 hours to make that 50 to 60.
Wow.
So as soon as I had an opportunity for a job, I held on to it, And that's the rest of the depot workforce has that same mentality. I have over a 90% retention rate. Like I don't once I get people onto payroll, they hold on to this job, And one thing that I'm proud to to exemplify is that if you give people at the very bottom a chance to work, and pay them well and give them benefits with it, they're gonna hold on to it, and they're gonna grow from that because one of my experiences from being poor is it's hard to find decent work to support yourself once you become homeless, and it becomes almost a vicious cycle, So
Absolutely.
being able to exemplify that, hey, if you give people the opportunity to do something and contribute, because we get to contribute to the community on top of that. We are interacting with people from our community every single day. We know our customers very well. We know the people that come by very well by name. And although it could be tough and challenging some days, but overall, it's an enjoyable experience that we finally have this, we're in this position that we can give back to the community in our own way,
That's awesome. Thank you.
Well, so Chris, how did you discover the People's Depot and Ground Score Association?
Yeah, so at the time, I apparently they had been around for a few months. I had learned through them from a news report from KGW. They were offering a hiring fair at Overlook Park at a specific day, and it's like, you know what, like that they're hiring people without any IDs, that's been like one of my barriers back when I was homeless is identification barriers, and it's hard to becomes a double-edged sword if you don't have any ID. You can't prove who you are, so you can't go get identification, and you can't get meaningful work. So I went out to Overlook Park on that day, and about 100 other people were looking for work also. Like that, there's a lot of us out here that like if you give them the opportunity, they'll want to show up. They only had like 30 or 40 shifts available, and I didn't get chosen for one of the shifts. And this was for the glitter side. Our glitter program is our campsite collection program. And I was like really disappointed at the time. And our co-founder and former like executive director Barbie, she noticed that like I was really upset about like being there for 2 hours and waiting and not getting picked for a shift. So she introduced me to Milo, the former manager at the People's Depot, and she put me to work for a shift a week. And that's all they could offer at the time was one shift a week. But I was like, you know what? Like I could do this and I'll be there. And one thing has led to another because of this job. I finally have identification. I actually have my driver's license now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just I'm able to invest in myself, and now I'm trying to help other people do the same thing.
I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you talking about how you got into this. Would you mind talking a little bit? Because I don't think people realize how hard it is to make a few dollars collecting hundreds of cans and the hours and the challenges of doing so. Would you mind talking through that
Oh,
a little
absolutely.
bit?
So when I first came to Oregon, I had no idea there was a bottle bill or that there was anything that bottles and cans were worth money. And I noticed people collecting them, and I felt like, hey, what's up with this? And at the time when I got here, it was only 5 cents a can.
Right.
And I at the time I figured that was not worth it for me to go collect bottles and cans. I think they turned into 10 cents in 2016. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I'm gonna go try. And it's tough. Like for my first like 3 or 4 months, I was lucky to go make $5 or $10. But that $5 or $10 like meant a lot to me. Like it was still enough to go get a pack of rolling tobacco and maybe a beverage or something. But it took me like literally like 2 or 3 years. By year 4, year 5 of collecting bottles and cans, I was actually really good at it. Like I could go out and make 40 or 50 bucks within like that 3 or 4 hours, and do that like 2 or 3 times a week, depending on who I was with and whatnot. But it it definitely was a challenge the first few years, and it's really what taught me Portland. Like I would go into
Mhm.
neighborhoods after dark and learn all the different streets and all the different neighborhoods, and it like being a bottle and can collector was a very positive, had a very positive impact on my life. Knowing that like, hey, you can still get out there and do something. You can still get out there and move and make your own way. You don't have to steal. You don't have to feel like you have to hustle anyone. Like this is still a way to support yourself. And because I was a bottle and can collector, it still gave me confidence in myself that hey, you can find something better.
Yeah.
And I know quite a few people like that, and that's why like I speak so highly of bottle and can collectors because they're doing this out of choice. It's not really a want, like it's more of a necessity, but they're still choosing, like even if they are handicapped or if they're in a wheelchair or like I see bottle and can collectors in all shapes and sizes, and the fact that they choose to still want to do something to support themselves is amazing.
Very much so. We have I would say some regulars that come down our street and keep an eye out for them, and one of them is struggling to move. He's like, "I'm getting too old for this shit."
Oh, it,
But he's like, "I can't, I'm not really available to do much else." And so every time I hear the cart coming down because it's got a distinctive noise, I grab my cans and run out with it. And I wish I could do more. I generally offer some hand warmers and beverages also in the summer, and it's a lot. So you talk a little bit about in our conversations and emails about the work you do on the Morrison Bridge and being able to do the redemption work, but also like coordinating other services for folks, like trying to find people a connection to something else that'll help them, whether it's getting a meal or some other needs that they have. Can you talk about some of your experiences and what you guys try to provide for everybody?
Yeah, so really, all we're really doing is providing space. All of our
Mm,
partner community partners that show up at the depot, have been happy little accidents where these organizations have been have like we're driving by and like, hey, we
mm,
noticed that you guys are serving a lot of people under here. Do you have any space so we can show up with a hot meal, or do you have any space so
mm,
that we can hand out supplies. We also partner like Street Books also comes and does the mobile library there every Friday. I do want to shout out yeah, Street Books, Peace and Dignity, and the Dandelion House are the ones that offer services on Friday. And then recently, like I was saying, Artemis Catering or Artemis Foods,
right.
they started showing up on Mondays and handing out hot meals, and that started just because one of their employees drove by and noticed that we were serving a lot of people. So like it's really just being open minded to sharing our space with other organizations because they have the same mentality that we just want to be here to help people and serve people. We understand that people are going through a lot right now. It's tough. It's especially for toughest for people on the bottom, and people
Right.
deserve a space to show up to and not feel judged and just and get what they need. And they have been wonderful partnerships, and just by willing to share our space, we've been able to make this grow organically.
That's so
That's awesome.
cool. So, for folks who have never been to the People's Depot, or for anyone who's listening to this and will want to go, because I know sometimes the bottle drops are just the line is so long, it's convoluted, and I've seen people be treated with no respect. If somebody shows up at the People's Depot, what's the typical, like, walkthrough? Like, what happens when you show up with a couple of bags?
Yeah, it depends on what time of day you show up. If you get there first thing, there might be a line of 15 to 20 people, which is completely okay. If there's anything that Americans know how to do, it's queue up. Like we know how to wait in line. So and but I mean, so we might have people who show up like 15 to 20 minutes before we open. But we try to get through everyone within less than 15 minutes. We have five different hand count tables. On Mondays, we're a little bit busier, so I open up a sixth table. So we have six different stations going on specifically just for counting your bottles and cans, which is much faster than at any local grocery store where you might only have one or two people counting containers. And then at the regular bottle drops, they're getting much better about it, but the reverse vending machines have always notoriously been slow and clunky, where it would take
Yes.
15 to 20 minutes to count 350 containers if you have a lot. It takes one of the TPD employees roughly 4 or 5 minutes to count out 400 containers. We have a 400 container limit. So we're running about 60 people an hour through our depot. Right, and
That's
we're only
wild.
open about 2.5 hours a day. Right now, we're processing around 43,000 containers and helping about 160 people. But we pride ourselves on our efficiency. Like people enjoy showing up, not having to wait in a long line. Most of the time, if you get there after we handle a rush, you can just walk up to a table, get your cans counted within 5 minutes, and you're out the door. And then maybe we have supplies there, maybe we have a meal there. So it's not about really waiting in line. The only time we really have lines is in the very beginning of the day, and sometimes towards the end. Like we have the stereotypical like, oh, they close in 20 minutes. Let's all get down there, you know? But in general, we like that's I think how we have attracted most of the people that we serve. Like we don't do any advertising. We've never done like we've tried to not do any advertising. We're more word of mouth, and it's definitely grown. Like when I first started working at the depot, we were maybe serving 30 to 40 people a day. I know back when we started there, or when I started, we processed 3 million containers within that year, which is not bad. But in the last 2 years, in 2024 and 2025, we processed 10 million containers in both years, which is roughly, I think, 6% of all of the containers in Portland. and this is only being open 2.5 hours a day, 5 days a week.
That's wild.
You know, but like it is a jam-packed 2.5 hours for us and our employees. But I think, well, we all appreciate it. Like we all love being there. We all love seeing our daily customers. We are a daily stop in a lot of people's lives now, and like we're just part of people's lives, and it makes me feel good to know that we have created a positive experience for a lot of people.
Yeah. You you mentioned in your email that there's some bridging between house and unhoused communities, and I'm curious about do are you seeing more folks from, the house community come down there for either bottle drop or volunteerism, or what's the kinda engagement process that you're seeing? I think there's a lot of value in providing that conduit to for folks that, have the privilege of not struggling nearly as much
Uh-huh.
to understand the humanity of everybody else around them too, right? So I love that idea of the commingling of the communities because we're all neighbors.
Oh, absolutely. And so when we first started, like we prided ourselves being a canner run bottle drop for other canners. But as we've progressed and we have started helping more people, a lot more regular folks have started showing up and needing redemption services, and we have become more of a like an actual people's depot for everyone. We pride
Yeah.
ourselves in being all inclusive because like I feel like as someone who has spent a lot of time on the outside looking in, like
Mhm.
there are things that are made specifically for homeless people and things that are made specifically for other folks, and there needs to be something and bottle redemption is one of the things that is that can be for both, and just creating this space where like no one is afraid of anyone else, everyone feels completely safe, everyone can interact with each other, and there's not that hostility. But, I mean, also for people in housing who are struggling, I know that the fear among a lot of people is like, I'm housed and I'm struggling, but I don't feel like I could go anywhere for a free meal, because like that's for the homeless people, When in reality, like these meals, like community meals, should be for
Yeah.
everyone, and no one should feel shame about getting food, and just like being able to offer like having the space to have someone else offer those services, and so someone in the house can come can get their cans counted, but still pick up a meal and not feel like kind of like get lost in the pack, and not feel shamed about wanting to get food while they're there, and like I wish that we could see more community things where it was for everyone, and we need more of those spaces because I know that there is like people who are struggling, especially in homes like the and like, oh, I still have a house, I shouldn't have to go to a food bank, or shouldn't have to go to a community meal, when they shouldn't feel shame in doing any of that, and yeah, just it's something I feel good about.
Yeah, definitely.
So I know that there's definitely been some politics involved in having the People's Depot up and running. And when I was talking to the executive directors, Nick and Taylor, about this, they were filling me in on SB 992, which was the alternative access, which allows the People's Depot to exist as opposed to bottle drops, which I believe are private entities throughout the state.
Uh-huh.
So one of the things we were talking about is that the alternate access site, People's Depot, is the only one, I believe, in the state so far.
Yeah, well, technically not yet. So we haven't filed our application, but once we do
Okay.
file our OLCC application, we will be the only alternative access redemption center, which is amazing. Just because we are a group of informal recyclers who came together and just we're just showing up to work every day, and and turning from that into changing the Oregon bottle bill to allow us to continue to contribute to it is an amazing thing, and like I said in my testimonial, All of this is just for wanting to show up to work every single day. Like all of us, like if we didn't want to show up to work, none of this would have happened. You know, if we didn't want to make a change in our personal lives, to want something more for ourselves, this wouldn't have happened. So, like it's the entire depot staff that made this change, and just being able to adapt to our insane growth, because like that's really what we've had to really learn how to do is is adapt from 40 people a day to 150 to
Yeah.
tripling what we do in the same amount of space. And I'm really thankful for the OBRC and the grocers, because like that's really what SB 992 is about. Is the grocers within a certain convenience zone will also have to pay into our funding. As of right now, it's the OBRC who funds our operations. So as an alternative access redemption center, the surrounding grocery stores within a certain radius of us have to also pay into our funding. So this will give our workers more hours. This will give us an actual building, because we've been operating under a bridge with no running water, no electricity,
No
rain, sleet,
walls.
no walls, and just dealing with everything around us. But we managed to be open. The only thing that has ever closed us is ice on the ground.
Mm.
And any other time, like we're like the mailman. Like we'll be open if it's between Monday through Friday.
That's amazing. So what does a growth plan look like? And if you do have a building that you're going to be able to move into and actually be warm while you're doing this work, or cool for that matter, and have a bathroom available that's indoors,
Uh-huh.
are you still going to be serving under the Morrison Bridge? Are you planning also to potentially look at other areas to start a, new site at?
Yeah.
What's
So
the yeah,
the conversation right now. So we have identified a site on the corner of, I think it's Ninth and Powell. So it's right on the other side of the, I forget the name of the bridge. But we have identified a site there, and we're still working with the OBRC and the grocers on getting like the
right,
permitting done and all that stuff. The hope is that we get to be open for 5 hours a day now instead of
yeah,
2.5 hours. That'll allow us to double the amount of people that we serve, and we're expecting to go from 10 million containers to 2.5 million. I mean 25 million containers per year. But that the positive at like it sounds like a lot, it's really not, but that's still $2.5 million in revenue that's going back out into the community. That's something that's really not talked about a lot. Is like the People's Depot redeemed $1 million in containers last year, 10 million containers. That's $1 million that went back into the pockets of our community. So, and that creates economic stimulation. These people are buying food, they're
yeah,
paying their rent, they're paying the phone bills. Like that economic stimulation is extremely important right now. You know.
yeah, especially for the amount of labor that goes into collecting the cans and everything else. That's wild, and that's also really cool and exciting. So, what kind of support do you have from our elected officials to be able to lean in and support the work that you're doing, or lack thereof? I guess I'm curious about what the uh,
I I feel
yeah,
like so when we announced that we had found our space for the depot, there was a little outrage from the surrounding neighborhoods
envious.
concerning
Mhm.
about us being there. Like we're going to bring the property values down, and there's going to be nothing but drug dealing around the depot, because we're giving cash out to poor people, so there must be drug dealing that happens. You know,
Yeah,
so. I know that that they reached out to their local representatives and councilmen, and in kind, like I will say that our representatives did respond positively to us. They asked to come see our work. They've we've got to host quite a few political representatives. I don't want to murder anyone's names, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna mention any.
that's fair.
But but yeah, we have been visited by quite a few politicians, and they've all supported our work, and they have been I want to say defending us from people who are outraged that we're
That's
moving
great.
anywhere. And like we love to show our work off as much as possible. Like we want people to come to us. We want the general public to be able to come here and feel safe, you know, because there is a group of people out there that are saying that what I'm doing is not safe, that we're going to ruin things around us, and that it's nothing but bad things that we're bringing, when really, like, we're like the most positive thing in a lot of people's days. You know, we are
Yeah,
bringing a lot of joy to a lot of people's lives just by being there. And so I'll say that the politicians that we have got to meet with and show our work off to have been very supportive.
that's wonderful to hear. I appreciate
That's
that.
good. No, I've definitely heard the arguments where if there's too many people who are houseless roaming the streets in a neighborhood, the prices of houses will go down, or crime
Mhm.
will go up, or, oh my God, they're going to start buying and selling drugs right there in the corner. And it's like, that's not true. That's
Yeah.
absolutely not true. You know, and this public perception somehow has to change. And sometimes the best way to change it is to actually be next to each other
Oh,
and see
absolutely.
it.
And a metaphor that I use a lot, or not use a lot, but I use on myself, is I see the homeless versions of every house person out there. For every house
Hmm.
person that I've ever met, I've met the homeless version of someone that looks just like you, but
Mhm.
except their lives took a different direction. You know, and really, like, I wish that more people would see that if there are a large amount of homeless, then there's got to be something wrong with society. It's not their fault
Yes,
that they all became homeless. There are societal failures, and there are our infrastructure is not strong enough if we are creating this much poverty. If we are creating if these many people are falling through the cracks, there's got to be infrastructure changes that need to be more secure.
absolutely. No, no, and that's it's one of the most important points to make, that no one chooses to go into a place where they're struggling just to survive. And whatever circumstances happen, that means the safety net in society is failing. So I really appreciate that view. I also love the communal aspect of other organizations coming in to help and provide additional services, help. I think that's critical, and I hope that that continues to grow once you've established a larger location, be able to do all this in, because that's one thing. One of all three of my kids have worked in the library system, and my youngest found that almost everybody who came when they were volunteering at a desk needed help with something, and she's like, "Why can't we just sign them up rather than give them a referral slip?" Right?
Right.
When people are congregating, they're generally not gonna go around and start doing crimes and stuff like a stupid movie, right? Folks that need something, that's the opportunity to engage with them in meaningful ways and get community, understand who they are as people, and help out. So I'm really hoping that that is the continued momentum that you guys have.
Yeah.
Um, do you want to talk a little bit about becoming a master recycler and what that entails? I'm fascinated about the uh, everything that you learning and need to can employ in your work.
Yeah, so I applied for the Master Recycler. So I actually learned about Master Recyclers last year when I came across another Master Recycler. I was like, oh, what is this per se? And
Yeah.
I found out it's a county program, and a lot of different counties offer these Master Recycle programs, and that you have to apply to. So I applied to this last year. I got accepted, and it's been an 8 week course. I just attended
Hmm.
once a week, every Wednesday night from 6 to 9, and it covers pretty much everything recycling. But nowadays, there's it's actually more pertinent to be to reuse. You know, like that's the
Hmm.
big thing being pushed now is reuse, and that's what a lot of the class covered. We also got to do really cool field trips. I got to go out to like the Metro transfer station. I got to go out to composting station out in North Plains, which was like
Mm.
actually really neat. I got to go visit a community warehouse. There's the Habitat Restore project. But just essentially what the master recycler program is about is just being a leader in your community and teaching other people on how to dispose of things properly, like what are the proper ways to of disposing things, or really just interacting with the community more on and creating like clothing swaps and just finding ways to you're a conduit and making sure that things get to the right places essentially. And I'm actually like really proud to have to be accepted into the program and learn about this. Because not just with recycling, I do want to continue to figure out how to be a better community member. And
Mm.
like that's really the journey that I'm on right now. Like I've gotten the second chance in life, and now it's like okay, so I've attained this position, so how can I use this to better myself and help be a better community member? You know.
No,
Mm.
thank you for that.
That's so cool. I didn't realize there was a master recycling program. I don't think a lot of people know about it. And the one thing that people, I think, forget when you think about recycling cans and doing all this stuff is that it is a form of climate justice. It's a form of environmental justice. So it's not just like, oh, somebody dug through my dumpster, or I leave these cans out for this one person I know who comes by every night. Like this is their route, this is their neighborhood. That it actually is helping the whole city, the whole state, everyone. It's it's larger than any of us, and
Oh,
yet
absolutely.
the perception still exists of like, oh, is it's shameful for somebody to have to do this. And it's not. It's
Oh
really
no.
not.
So another privilege that I've been given is I'm part of the International Alliance of Waste Pickers. Like Ground Score
Yeah.
Association in general is part of the International Alliance, but I get to interact with waste pickers in South America and in Africa and India, and knowing their struggles as waste pickers. And like we actually have, I don't want to say that we have it relatively good here, but like something else that that I'm learning is because of like we have this mindset of like, oh, it can't go to the landfill, let's donate it, or let's do this. And when we donate things, things that don't get sold at the thrift stores get sent over there, and we're causing crises in other parts of the world due to how we donate things here in America. But it's interacting with waste pickers from other parts of the world. I know that here in America, like you were saying, like here in America, waste pickers are not recognized for what they do. They're actually seen as a blight on society, or that they're not that they should get a real job or contribute in other ways. When in reality, like a lot of people, like if that's how they choose to contribute, they're still doing a good thing. And they deserve better protections. We like here in America, we don't protect informal work as much as we should. And that's like the difference between like us and a lot of other societies where they have actually recognized their waste pickers. Like they're in South America, they have a waste picker organization where their waste pickers get dental service, like hygiene service. Like they're able to organize so much effectively than we can here. It's harder for the poor for the poor to organize properly here in America. And I'm not sure if it's just a mindset, or if we could do things better. Sorry, that was more of a ramble.
No, that
No,
was perfect.
no, the all things are connected story is critical, and we don't hear it enough, and, society could always do better. So, the folks that are willing to do some of the hardest things should have the most benefits and protections,
Uh-huh.
in my very humble opinion. I've worked in, food reclamation, and I know plenty of folks that survived trying to go to school or what have you by, oh, Domino's closes at 10. There's going to be three pizzas there that are going to be
Uh-huh.
absolutely fine, right? And that's a meal for five people, right?
Right.
And the idea that food doesn't get thrown out, gets to people who are hungry is something that I'm super passionate about. I did not know that there's an international pickers organization, and now I'm like absolutely want to go dive and learn more about that too. So I
Yeah, I think
appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah.
didn't you all just, like, meet up in Vietnam last fall or something like that? I
Yeah,
remember talking to Barbie about it.
yeah, Barbie and Taylor went to have a meeting in Vietnam. I actually got to attend the first International Alliance of Waste Picker Congress, where they elected their first president, vice president, treasurer 2 years ago, and this was down in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Mm.
And it was a real privilege to be able to go down there and see their waste picker collective and how they run their waste management down there, because waste pickers are actually integrated into their waste management system. And
Yeah.
waste pickers are used to educate and regular folks, and it really was a great system. And just without this work, I wouldn't be exposed. Like I wouldn't have been able to get exposed to all this wonderful work other people are doing around the world that does pertain to what we're doing up here in its own way, and trying to find ways to integrate what they're accomplishing up here. You know.
Yeah, so I wanna back up for a second because when you were describing all this, you said that some of the ways that at least this country donates things that we don't need, you were saying that it doesn't. I don't really know what the wording is, but you were saying that there's a process in which then it gets shipped to other countries and we actually create more waste. Can you describe that more? I had no idea about this.
Yeah, so places like Goodwill. Goodwill is probably one of the biggest perpetrators of this, but they get donated X amount of pounds of clothing and furniture and whatnot every single year. A lot of that stuff doesn't get sold, and they don't want to throw that stuff away. So they've worked out deals with places in like Senegal, West Africa, or there's places down in Chile where they fill up whole containers full of textiles and clothing and whatnot, and they ship them overseas to these poor places that think that they can benefit from this cheap clothing. When in reality, when you sure, one or two containers is great, but when you're sending 50 containers a year,
Mm.
and like those clothes aren't getting used over there, you are completely ruining their society. For they don't have a place to dump all this stuff at, for one,
Right.
and then these places that usually have these very colorful clothing and colorful garbs, that their textile industry gets damaged because you have all this ugly stuff from us coming in, all the stuff that we couldn't sell. There's down, I believe in Chile, there's an entire mountain of denim jeans that did not get sold that we donated down to them, but they have no use for all that clothing either. But that's just one example of clothing. Because textile waste is one of our a big huge perpetrators of making sure that it doesn't end up in the landfill and then it gets sent off somewhere else. The other big thing, and China, it was the Green Sword Act or whatever, but this is what led to the Plastic Pollution's Recycling Modernization Act that's currently being implemented. But China stopped buying a lot of our recycled stuff mid 2015, 2016, because we don't know how to sort all of our stuff right, and we were sending a lot of contaminated recycled materials over there, and China couldn't do anything with it either. A lot of that stuff ends up in like their landfills, and their waste pickers have to
Mhm.
live with that type of stuff also. But I know that Oregon is one of the leaders in making sure that things get to the right areas. That's why we have the Plastic Pollution's Recycling Modernization Act, and I'm really excited to see how that's going to be implemented. And if waste pickers from here can be integrated into that system also.
That would be amazing. I am aware of the fast fashion problem. Being in ITM, electronic waste is a huge problem as well.
Uh-huh.
The fact that things are manufactured in a way that don't allow repair or reuse to begin with, and
Uh-huh.
then the components are so small, breaking it down is logistically impossible. So all those things, again, all connected. I'm fascinated about the plastic bill also now. I'm learning so much. I need to go learn more.
Chris, if you were gonna give advice to somebody who did not know that any of this existed, and some of this I did not know existed or how
Mhm.
much we were actually creating more harm than good, and I was gonna, uh, clean out my closet, what should I do with the clothing? Now knowing what you know and what you can educate the rest of us dumbasses about.
I mean, and be thoughtful. I mean, there's places like Scrap that will take in things like that. Just be more. And there's better secondhand stores than Goodwill and Salvation Army. That are more mindful, and just we have to just be aware of companies' practices nowadays. Another big community warehouse is doing amazing work right now, and you'd be amazed by the
Mhm.
little things that they need, like shower rings and shower curtains and
Mm.
just all the little random things that you wouldn't think that a new home would need, they're taking in, you know? But, we it's not as simple as just boxing everything up and taking it to Goodwill because, like, that is the easy answer to do. We live in such a complicated world, and I feel like waste is not talked about enough. Because, I mean, everything else is under attack. Civil liberties, civil justices, human rights are under attack, and look, we're not considering the waste that we're creating in our day-to-day lives. Now, like I
Mhm.
was saying earlier, Oregon is actually ahead of the system compared to a lot of
Mhm.
other states when it comes to its waste. And I'm actually very grateful that we can have these conversations because these conversations aren't happening in a lot of other states, you know. But yeah, we need to just talk about waste more, and we need to be more thoughtful about how we dispose of things, and we still need to put a lot more pressure onto our politicians to think about waste and then be thoughtful about it and making sure that it's going to the right places.
Absolutely. Is there any topics that we didn't cover that you'd like to talk about? Are there other things that we didn't ask about?
No, I mean that's a little bit of everything. I mean, if I could leave with one thing is
Please.
Oh, people need more money in their pockets. People make better decisions if they have more money in their pockets. And we need to keep that mindset. There's a whole sect of people out there that doesn't want housing vouchers, that wants to get housing on their own, and a lot of that stuff could be attainable. Um, on their own through their own autonomy, but a lot of those steps are removed once you become homeless,
Mhm.
once you lose everything. It's much harder to reclaim what you lost, you know. But the more money people have in their pockets, the better decisions people are going to make with themselves.
I really appreciate that.
Anything you want people to understand about folks who are low income or homeless or struggling and that gets so lost in all this newspaper stuff when they talk about the shelter system
Mm.
versus housing versus this versus that, SNAP benefits, like, and all the terribly it pisses me off. The stereotypes, gun violence, drug addiction, blah, is there something
Yeah.
you really wanna just get it out there?
That they need a seat at the table also. That's something that I'm taking advantage of as someone who comes from that place. I have a seat at the table now, and I've been trying to shout as much as I can. But these conversations that people have, they're not involving the
Mhm.
people who are actually experiencing it, and like all the media, all these conversations on who gets what housing and whatnot. The people who are affected the most, they don't have who have the biggest stake in the game. They don't have a voice in the game, you know, and
Right.
they need bigger voices. And I urge people to get actual voices from that community, you know.
Thank
That's
you.
something that even that every org I've talked to has said something along those lines, like the people who are most affected are most often ignored, or you choose like one or two tokens.
Mhm.
But yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, and I want to continue to empower. That's like another one of my missions is to empower the silent ones, the people who have been beat up and don't want to say anything anymore because they have been beat up, that they still have a voice, that they still have an opinion, and that it matters because like I work with a lot of that type of folks that have very powerful stories and that come from very dark places and who are doing their best to maintain themselves, you know. And but they're too. I don't want to say that they're too beat up to speak, or or they're. I want to instill bravery in my own brothers and sisters who are going through the same thing. You know that, like, hey, you deserve a voice, you deserve a seat at the table.
Appreciate that very much. One last thing. How can people find your organization and support you?
Yeah, so our website is groundscoreassociation.org. The People's Depot is one of the links within it. I personally, I do not have any social media or anything like that. I
That's
haven't used social
probably
media in
really smart.
like 10 years now. But yeah, I know that we have a website and an Instagram, and we have a really good media team that I'm very thankful for.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
cool.
No, the Instagram's great, the website's great, and I know the art exhibits that have been going on the last year have been amazing, and the team ups with other orgs.
Let's make sure that we check in with you in the near future once things start progressing so that we can hear how things are going.
It would be cool to
Um,
have you follow up when
No,
everything
absolutely.
is yeah.
yeah, so keep us in mind and we'll reach out and really appreciate your time today and really excited for your master recycler certification. So that's very cool stuff.
Yeah, thank you for having me. That was a fun conversation. I really appreciate being on here.
Right
Cool.
on. Thank you.
Mhm.
So.
Progress Portland is also on Facebook and Instagram, and we have event listings and updates on our website, progressportland.org. There's a content form on our website if you'd like to help out or have questions or comments. Our theme music is by the Portland band Helvetia.